Hello, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo and this is my forever co-host Jump. And for this week we are going to space, to the final frontier as Star Trek says. And we start with, as you said, the least scientific of all of them. Or the most popcorn-esque of all of them.
It's fun. I will say. This movie was fun. Rewatching it, I was like, not gonna lie. This is a good time with friends if ever you're gonna need a space movie to watch.
Yeah. And it's directed by Michael Bay. It mainly stars Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, and Ben Affleck. The supporting cast includes Steve Buscemi, the late great Michael Clark Duncan, Will Patton, and I forgot someone, Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, but he was there for
A few minutes.
he was there for a majority of the movie, but then once they got into the mission, he was the first one from the crew to die.
Yeah. Keith David's also in this one. So is Billy Bob Thornton. That's Billy Bob's the NASA guy, Keith David's the general, and you're like, oh cool, people we all grew up to like.
I really like Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
I don't see much of him though.
Like, since we talked about Princess Mononoke, he was the voice of Jigo. The English voice guys. Yeah.
Ah, okay. That's it.
But yeah, do you remember the first time you heard the song and more importantly, you watched this movie?
All I remember is my dad had the DVD of this, and every time he would pop it on, I would never really have my full attention to it because I was a kid. I didn't really fully understand what the hell was going on. But I would always see the scene of I don't want to close. I don't know if we're gonna get copyrighted for that one, but Ben Affleck hugging the girl, and you're like, oh, Dad, gone. If you say spoilers, the movie's been out since 1998, so
yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah, so that's on you.
Well, my first exposure to the song and movie was MTV because it was always playing the scene of Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler on the farm. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, it's that one.
Just as a kid, I was like, I don't understand. And then years later, I watched the movie. I was like, oh, that's where the scene's from.
Yeah,
makes sense that it's from a Michael Bay movie too. Oh, okay.
Okay, not gonna lie, Michael Bay, shit humor, pretty good music taste.
Yes. I mean, we do start with one of the world's worst nightmares. Oh, nature decided to roll dice and decided our number was up.
And they show them they pretty much show us dinosaurs. Oh, it's gonna happen again with the whole Armageddon shit with the world ending.
I don't know how the guy and his dog survived, but you're like, good, they didn't kill the dog.
Same here. It's so stupid. It really is. But the first thing we get is a couple of astronauts doing a spacewalk, doing some maintenance on a satellite, and then it going completely wrong. So some cosmic god shot a shotgun in mid-space and killed a couple of astronauts, and then started falling into Earth.
Yeah.
And it started picking off a Samoan guy, I guess. Some places in New York.
The ethnic stereotypes, okay.
I am so glad Michael Clark Duncan didn't really fall in that category.
Yeah.
He did take off his shirt and start dancing on a stretcher, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, I even got to NASA and they're like, oh, what the hell is happening? Even the Pentagon, the FBI are like, we need to figure what's happening. Are we being attacked? No, it's just, again, as you said, a cosmic being deciding, I guess the Earth's time is up, so we're gonna play shotgun with it. And they're like, oh, we need the best of the best. And they can't find a solution because they only have 18 days. And then we got to Harry and his crew, and AJ. AJ's being scolded by Harry for not doing something right with the oil rigs. And as he's being
I don't know any minor talk.
Yeah.
When we mean by minor, we mean the guys who drill stuff, not
drillers, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so he pretty much fucks up in something, and we kind of get the dynamic. It's a father son. He's rough around the edges, while Bruce Willis is rough everywhere.
Yeah. But Adrian's sleeping with his daughter.
Sleeping with his wife, his daughter. I'm like, yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea to be shooting a shotgun in an oil rig.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, you do know we're in an oil tanker, and you're firing a shot, and there's like, don't worry, it's just, I'm just peppering him. I'm like, still, fire and oil doesn't really mix well.
No, it doesn't. And like, what's the name of his daughter? Liv Tyler and Harry are just like, their dynamics like, oh, I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm grown up. And he's like, I get that, but you're still my daughter, and I have to watch over you. And you're like, that's fair, but at the same time, you're a bit too controlling. So there's that.
Yeah, like her entire life's been on a tanker or around these, like, you know, rough and tough guys. Yeah, we get the sense of the crew right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, again with Michael Clark Duncan, Steve Buscemi, everybody. But yeah, you get the sense of the characters themselves.
Yeah,
they work together very well. And then NASA was like, "Hey, you know what we need? We need to hire a couple of miners who has never been to space or has any." I'm like, man, people went to MIT for a job at NASA.
Yeah, I don't know why Jason, what's his name in Harry Potter? Lucius Malfoy was like, his idea was good at first, like, oh, we need to put a nuke in the asteroid so that it blows up from within, and that's how we stop it. And I don't know how it got from let's do the smart thing to like, hey, let's get these guys who've never been trained to get the most intense training for life to go up to space for once. Instead of like,
I love the justification for getting Harry for the job. He's like, the best driller. He has never missed or failed to drill. And I was like, yeah, huh? Okay.
I get why I get Harry, but like the rest of the crew, you're like, are you sure?
Yeah, like, it would have made sense if a couple of astronauts who knows what they're doing gets the best of the best guy.
Yeah.
Like, you get one good demolitions guy, right? Like, you make a team. You make the leader, demolitions guy,
Yeah.
the guy who gets shit done, the driller. There's little bits of parts. You don't get 7 fucking drillers. But that's the job.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I really don't get it. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson already had this conversation where I think it would have been easier for NASA to have just trained a couple of astronauts how to drill.
Instead of like, hey, are you in oil rig?
Some miners learn how to get into space
And drill.
Mm-hmm. But he did say that, like, hey, we're just gonna be digging holes, right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna be doing any spacewalks or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yet again, I think you have a lot of dead weight if you need like 7 or 8 miners to, like, you know.
Yeah. It's like, what else? What do the rest do? I don't know.
I don't know. They know their shit.
I
guess it's a hydrogen pocket. You didn't know that? Shit.
Like, we already get the feel of the crew, especially when like they're being chased by the cops, and Bear's is like, you can't catch Papa Bear. You're like, oh, okay, nice character.
He's a fun one. The others, though.
Fuck Sam being like, I didn't know she was below 18. You're like, fuck.
Okay, here we are with the Michael Bay humor, where we're like, I don't think you should just put that in. I get it, he's a fuckboy, but like, man, you're ruining his character for me.
Yeah.
And then there's Owen Wilson's character, where he just goes off about Grace.
Yeah.
There's not a good talk. I swear to God, if I was Harry, I would have punched Owen Wilson in the face already.
Also, his name is Oscar Choi. You're like, you don't look like an Oscar Choi to me.
You look like an Oscar, not a Choi.
But yeah, they have to go through this intense training program, and apparently behind the scenes, Bruce Wilson wanted to really partake because he's a diva like that. So they had difficulties. Yeah.
I don't know. That's why you don't really see him. He's like always like,
Yeah.
you know, the big boss behind like monitoring his team. And I was like, man, where was your training?
Right? And like you sense the dynamic between him and AJ, where AJ's like, "Oh, I guess I'm never good enough for him. I'll never be enough to marry your daughter. Thanks, Harry. Thanks for that." And like this whole sequence of like training and being like psychologically analyzed to the point that NASA's like, "I don't think they're trained for anything. I don't think we can send them up there and expect them to come back in one piece, alive or sane."
Approved. Because they're the best of the best. That's all we got. I was like, NASA, no they ain't.
And then like when they test Barry, like, "Sir, your cholesterol is off the roof," and he's like, "Oh really?" And then he takes off his shirt. You're like, is this scene necessary? Why? Why do you do this to poor Michael Clark Duncan?
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. But they do get some work done. Like, they get how to be an astronaut, kind of, within the span of time they have. Like, oh, don't fuck with the suit, or otherwise you're gonna go flying. And, like, I love how they're checking out this one female astronaut, and then she's like, "Bear, what the fuck happens when I kick you in the nuts?" He's like, I go flying." She's like, "Very good." "Oh, shut up." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, again, humor's a little bit weird. Hit or miss from here to there. Fine.
Yeah. I do like the R&R scene where they take a break for a bit. And then that's where we got the song.
Where they pretty much like, hey, you might not come back from this. Take a break.
Yeah.
Like, you know, settle things,
Yeah.
you know, with your family and all that jazz. I'm like, that's actually a pretty good one. Like, I like Harry's second in command. I forgot his name.
Chick,
yeah, where he like goes to his like divorced wife and he sees his son, and his son doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, and his wife's like, "Why are you here?" It's like, "I just wanna, can you please tell him I'm gonna go somewhere? I might not make it back, but just tell him I'm doing something important that might make a difference." And like, that's the only time in the movie where you feel like everything grounds to a halt, and like, oh, this is a serious moment. Don't let Michael Bay's humor get in the way, and like, just let the drama marinate. And then
Michael
we go to
Bay's, you know, Michael Bay being Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Like, first we get like that Megan Fox thing where she like opens the hood and it's like a shot of her belly.
Yeah.
Now we got Liv Tyler with a shot of her belly. I'm like,
it's a trend from Armageddon to the first Transformers. You're like, okay.
all right, thank you for making us feel uncomfortable.
And like, I don't know what AJ's thing with the animal crackers was. I was like, what?
She goes, "Your pillow talk is outstanding." I'm like, wait, hold up. Hey, but that's all it takes.
And then
this movie's great.
And then we go from like serious guarded moments to what the fuck Steve Buscemi's doing with the dancers.
Oh yeah, with the Russian like strippers.
He's like spilling NASA secrets. You're like, they should kick you out for this.
Yep. And he gets arrested, and then they go to get back into it. This is actually a pretty cool scene where they start readying up.
I say there's only one part I'm like, really? Was the when they're being like, we call it like debacterialized, so like, oh, we can't make an astronaut. We have to make sure they're all well. They can't have a fever, they can't have a cold, no germs of any kind. And like, after they're all clean, Liv Tyler, Grace, and AJ are like down each other's throats.
Whoa, like, that's a good play.
And no one at NASA's like, what the fuck?
We just talked about this. The guy in the back, he was like, with the one with the clipboard, he's like,
it's like, this means nothing. Fuck.
I guess. But anyway, they got their moment.
I like how Harry is like, that boy has no discipline, and Chick's like, yeah, it reminds me of you. So stop being so harsh on the boy. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I like Chick. For me, Chick is like the unsung hero here.
Yeah.
Like he's a second in command, right hand man of the big boss,
Yeah.
which is Harry.
It's also
So,
kind
yeah.
of weird seeing Ben Affleck in this happy-go-lucky, like, doesn't have a care in the world face after seeing him in, like, other movies of, like, him being so, like, you have to do it this way. I'm Bruce Wayne. I am this certain way. Or I am the guy from the town and we have to rob a bank in this many minutes. For him to be like, I have no care in the world. I do what I want to do. It's a matter of the boss says it's okay or not.
Yeah, I not gonna lie, I got really annoyed by AJ. Like that character for me was just very annoying. Even though like once we got like to him drilling
Mm-hmm.
in the meteor,
Yeah.
I found that scene kind of annoying.
You want to just
But
count
we'll
down?
we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. But it is a cool scene when they launch and like the president's making like, hey, let's set our differences aside because this is about the survival of us and we have a means to stop our own extinction. So let's just put aside our differences for once and just join hands together. Like it's kind of like the thing with a movie we're doing later, The Martian, where it's like, hey, the whole entire world is like dead set on like hopefully this person or this mission is successful.
Yeah. Everybody likes a underdog story, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, yeah. And then they go to refuel in the Russian space station, and that's where you meet Peter Stormare, who is the sticking to the stereotypes, the stereotypical Russian astronaut.
Like it's Michael Bay, man.
Yeah.
There were Russian mobs in Bad Boys 2. There's a Russian ass cosmonaut here. He's not really just probably drunk off out of vodka.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then he tells AJ weird instructions, and AJ's like, but the thing doesn't work. What do you mean?
exactly. Again, here we go again with the weird Michael Bay humor,
Yeah.
where the Russian guy tells him exactly what to do. AJ does exactly what he told him, but breaks the thing. Okay, I would say that's on AJ's, part.
Yeah.
Breaks the thing, and then he's like, "Are you American?" I'm sorry if I'm doing accent. Are you Americans touching shit when you're not supposed to? And he's like, he just
You just told me.
those were the things you told him to do and told him to touch.
So what gives?
So exactly, it was like there's a leak. Stuff starts blowing up. Kudos to what's the name of the Russian guy?
I forgot.
Not Peter Stormare, but
Peter
like his
Stormare.
character.
Yeah.
Like, I like him as well because he stayed for AJ. Like while everybody bolted, this Russian guy was like, "Come on,
Lev. His name was Lev.
Lev." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they make it back to their respective spaceships and they go off to slingshot around the moon to get to the asteroid. But AJ's ship is hit by the asteroid's parts and then they have to crash. And they're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, is that the end of Ben Affleck? I guess so.
That was a really sick scene. Like,
Yeah.
them like maneuvering past through all the trail or like
Yeah.
a tail of comet. I was like, not gonna lie, that was sick. But then you see like, well, the astronauts were like, well, this is it. Then you see the glass cracking. they get peppered.
Or Owen
Like,
Nelson's just like disintegrated by glass. You're like, oh, well, it's a nasty way to go in space.
yeah, like if your seat hasn't detached from its like hinges, you would have died.
Either way, you're fucked.
Like if you stayed on your seat all strapped in, you're just gonna get like sprayed by glass and debris.
Exactly. And then this point, you're like, I guess people's numbers are up. And then when Harry and the crew start drilling, he's like, they're like, I can't reach the depth. Like the U.S. government panics, and the president's like, all right, can we just nuke the asteroid?
Below it.
Yeah. And then we get the
Yeah,
slow motion shot of the red key guys going into the building. You're like, oh, yeah, this is definitely Michael Bay's shit.
Yeah. And then you see like an American flag waving in a corner. We get it. Patriotism.
Cool.
Like even on the elevator thing,
Yeah.
on one of the space shuttles, it says freedom. I'm like, all right.
Some reason the colonel has his orders too, and he has like a Glock in space. I have the same question as Jake. Is like, Why do you have a gun in space? What the fuck is that going to do?
Like, it's so funny because Michael Bay likes putting guns in areas where there shouldn't be a gun.
Like, realistically,
now a spaceship.
if you shoot a gun in space, don't the bullets like slowly go up? I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think this through.
Never fired a gun in space.
Neither did I.
I don't know. Neil
No
deGrasse Tyson, if you're watching our video, please explain.
To be fair, I don't think anyone has fired a gun in space just for the sake of it.
I feel okay. No, from what I've heard is like if you fire a gun, as long as the velocity is going that way, that thing ain't stopping.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's gonna stay at its like constant speed forever until it hits something.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton's able to ask one of the scientists to like, hey, can you stop the clock? Because we don't want to kill our astronauts. He's like, alright, sure. And they stop it. And time for Harry and Chick to convince the Colonel's like, can you not do this? We're doing your best. I have never missed a death, and I won't do it now. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever you say, man.
You can't blame... You can't say both sides are wrong because you're like, well, they're trying to save the world, but at the same time, Harry, you're drilling. What the fuck do you know about anything else?
Okay, I don't... Next thing you know, we have like a legit like miner that goes who does have like drilling expertise. I'm for sure it's harder than it looks.
True, but at the same time, he can. I'm sure they'll be like, why didn't they just train the astronauts to do it?
Yes,
that's a prevailing point
or
of
just
this movie.
let Bruce Willis alone.
Yeah, just like, all right, just do it like this, and you're good.
Yeah. Like he is the underdog of like the team since he is just a miner instead of like a legit astronaut.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not the one who made the movie, so
True.
we can't really do that.
But he does. Max blows himself up because he's trying to drill too hard. At the same time, Steve Buscemi loses his mind in space after. What does he suffer from?
Space dementia.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
He's just started going crazy. Like he started riding the nuclear bomb and then just started shooting the gat. Also, why started gatling on his face?
The same thing when AJ like makes a hole in the spaceship with a Gatling gun. I was like, wait a minute, why is there Gatling gun in space?
When we clearly saw that spaceship come apart in half.
Yeah.
Well, there has to be an opening somewhere. But no, we just had to blow a hole in the side of the spaceship where the USA logo with a flag is on that side. I'm like, okay.
Also, I thought this mission was about drilling. Why is there Gatling guns and Glocks and spaces that you don't need it?
I don't know. I really don't know. By the way, remember that scene where like AJ, the Russian guy, and
Bear?
Yeah, Bear were like they launched. I love this one line though. He was like, "Have you ever heard of Evel Knievel? Never saw Star Wars."
Like,
that shit killed me. That one was good. That shit was good.
Yes.
But yeah, like where they would like launch.
Yeah.
He could have used the gat to like steer them.
Yeah. But
just saying.
But no.
Yeah. I guess. But whatever.
But yeah,
I'm not a scientist.
Neither am I, but thankfully, as all hope seems lost, Adri comes to the rescue and starts drilling, but it's like, don't listen to the machines, I got this. And then you're like, every time you say you got this, you don't. You might fuck us all.
Yeah, they didn't really show us any progression when it came to AJ besides dumb luck. And what is the point of showing us how Max died, where the drill was on fire, thus causing his death. Besides, like the meteor shower thing.
Yeah.
And besides that, what was the point of you showing us the cause of his death, thus making the same mistake, but just like headbutting your way through,
right?
Instead of doing a little bit better or being better or finding another solution, which for me, I found weird.
Yeah.
Like.
You're like, Max just died from that. weren't you dying from that, or something happening to you?
Even Harry said, he's like, Max died this way. And he was like, I got that! I mean, and it's like, and then, like, AJ's like, oh, just trust me for 1 second. I'm like, no. Because it has been proven that if you keep doing what you're doing, you will blow up, thus ruining our chances of, like, you know, blowing up this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he does it anyway. He's like, alright, he reached 800 feet. Like,
and then we're like, yeah, good on you for following your gut. And I was like, I feel like you lost potential in telling a story when it came to that scene.
Yeah, I just felt like, AJ's just lucky.
But then again, it's a movie about a couple of miners
going to space.
drilling a hole in space.
Having how many weeks of training?
Plays a lot. Oh.
Going back a bit, way back a bit, the jet training scene where everybody's like vomiting and you see Harry's the only one who has his shit together. You're like, I guess Bruce Willis didn't do the same training either. It's no Tom Cruise, which is fine.
No, that's like the whole thing with Bruce Willis. he just acts like Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
He's like not doing the training at all. He just sees the others going through it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm good. But yeah, the earthquake earlier damaged the remote control for the nuke, so they're like, oh shit, one of us has to stay.
This is a thing with this movie. There's always a problem after another problem after another problem. And you could say the same thing about The Martian, which we will do a review later. Stay tuned for that one. Is that it makes sense when there's a problem in The Martian. Like, there's something that happens that, like, you know, explains to us why this problem arises, thus Mark Watney has to fix that problem.
Yeah.
With Armageddon, they're just like, this thing ain't working. Why? I don't know. Hit it with a wrench. Until we hit, like, the last second. I'm like, okay.
This movie's weird, too, because there's always these dramatic moments that have the time to marinate when AJ has to draw the short straw, and Harry puts him back in the elevator and just takes AJ's place, and you're like, shit, I didn't expect this. This is a very good. Yeah,
I like that one.
And like AJ just begging Harry, like, don't do this, please, Harry, I love you, and he's going up, like, oh man, I'm feeling feelings now. But like when they're trying to start the rocket ship and Lev's like, you don't get it, you just have to hit it. You're like, I don't think it works that way in any situation.
I like it though, because he's been in space for like 18 months. He's like, I just want to go. So I'm like, I get you. Yet again, they kind of did like brute force their way into a through a problem.
Yeah.
Which again defeats the whole story.
Yeah.
I would say the storytelling aspect, but then again, it made it fun. It's funny. I'm not supposed to take this movie all that seriously.
Nope. Unlike the other two movies you have lined up, this is like the most fun popcorn one. We're like, and he has a satisfying ending for Harry's character, where Harry, I feel like, grows the most, which is not really saying much, but he has growth, at least.
Oh yeah. Or he says like, "Oh, I'm proud to have you marry my daughter," and then he calls him son, and I was like, "Teared up a bit, a bit."
And then he says like, bye to Grace. You're like, "Oh, sorry, I can't keep my promise, but I'm sure like AJ's gonna take care of you." You're like, fuck.
Yeah, and then like he had like his last few words to Chick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, and he blows himself up.
Yeah. And then that's the only time where a problem comes up where they don't brute force their way through it, where it's just like, Harry just has to come up with the will and the way to click the button, and then he does, and you're like, oh, cool.
So much shit keeps happening. I do like that Meteor itself had a bit of an attitude.
Yeah.
Where they would dig into like 800 feet, right?
Yeah.
Every time they get closer, the thing gets angrier. It starts spewing out like
more
steam and more asteroids are like falling near the area.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It feels alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it all ends in a nice bow where the Colonel's like, can I shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man I've ever met? And he shakes Grace's hand, and again the song comes up and you're like, oh, this is a satisfying ending for such a not scientific space movie.
It's fine. They're just telling a story. It doesn't have to be scientific. Like Hamilton doesn't make sense.
Does it make sense?
I don't know. I was like,
did you say Hamilton?
yeah. You know what? Cut this part out. Here I go again.
What?
Hold on. Here I go again with the fucking comparisons.
Have you seen Hamilton's history? You know what? We're keeping this as a
No,
bit.
you know what? I'm gonna stop myself.
That's the most random thing ever. Like Armageddon to Hamilton. Like, what?
Let's just finish this fucking movie, you piece of shit.
What would you rate Armageddon?
I don't know what to rate, to be honest. Because I'm leaning towards a 7, which is a pretty good score. I'm also leaning towards 8.5 or an 8. Because it's so fun. Is it the perfect movie? God, no. Would I say, like, is it scientifically accurate? Was I gripping my seat? Not really, because it is an action movie where you're like, it's gonna be a good ending nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So I'll find a good in between and just give it an 8 instead of an 8.5 or 7.
Okay.
So a solid 8, I would say. It's not Oscar worthy in any way, but it's so fucking fun and so funny. It's so funny when the movie's not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
When it tries to be funny, it becomes cringy. Okay, maybe a 7.5.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm arguing with myself in my head, but other than that, the movie's great. It's a good popcorn movie. It's nice to watch with your like friends or family. Besides that weird picnic scene, and where Ben Affleck and Liv Taylor's having second base on a thruster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot
there's
about
that
that.
scene. Yeah, and Bruce Willis being the father kind of stares a little too long. I'm like, right, but yeah. Other than that, it's a 7.5. It's fun. That's all I got to say.
I'll also give this a 7. Like as you said, this is a good movie to watch with your brain off, just like the multiple Transformers movies until Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast apparently. All the action's pretty good. Like the acting is pretty good. Sometimes over the top. Like I wish it could be better. I wish it could be less cringy or like sus too. Or like didn't Liv say that Steve Buscemi taught her how to use a tampon? I was like, how does that work? How? Then he corrects us. I was like, no, I just said the words. I didn't show her. I was like, how?
I mean, it's not impossible, but at the same time, you're kind of like, ew.
Yeah.
I don't like this character.
Like the only characters I really do like, if I'm being honest, are Chick and Harry, and that's about it. And Billy Bob Thornton's character, and that's about it.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7. You gave it an 8, which is fair and all. Sorry, a 7.5, right?
Yeah.
Which is all fair for a movie like this, and like it's, as you said, it's not the greatest space movie or action movie, but it's pretty fun to put on and just watch once in a while. We're like, you know what? I don't want to think about anything else. Watch a Michael Bay movie of this caliber. He can do serious movies, as we've seen with like 13 hours. But sometimes he just sticks to his comfort zone, and you're like, you know what? That's fine for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been our video on Armageddon. What's your favorite Michael Bay movie? Is it this, Transformers, The Rock, which I'm sure we'll do sometime in the future?
Oh, I would love to do The Rock.
As you said, 13 hours.
Please don't clip that. Don't clip that. Viewers, don't clip that.
the Rock?
I can't wait to do The Rock.
Yes, please tune in tomorrow for us. We're the only YouTube channel that compares Armageddon to Hamilton, and
Homie, shut the fuck up. Take that out. Take that out.
it's funny. It's not curse. You're fine. I asked a question off camera though, but yeah. If If you want to see more of us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. Individually, you can find me at KenGalvis1995 on Twitter. How about you?
Oh, you can find me at JohnJOM_ on Instagram. That is my right now.
And we'll see you for the next space movie. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Have you seen Hamilton?
No, because I was